What's up guys and welcome to my channel Flame4. In this issue 80 from Future DeLorean from Back to the Future, we're going to be doing the rear panel brackets part 2. So the reason it's called part 2 because they are going to be the other side brackets for the rear quarter. So we're going to be doing those and put them together. I'd just like to mention a big shout out to the world of Mike Anderson. He has supported my channel for a long time and he has a great channel going, and he probably doesn't get as much support as he needs. So if you could go and subscribe to his channel guys, that would be amazing. I will put a link to his video in the description just so you guys can check that out for him. He also does build a Route Master and many other ones on there too, so please go check him out and see what he's like. Right guys, so let's get on with the build. So the first thing you need to do, like we do on every single Builder DeLorean build, we make sure we get all our parts out and together. You want to make sure that you've got everything listed on the front page. So there's vents, brackets, a couple of trims, a red lens, another trim, quite a few screws. What I'm going to do is just going to skip through those because you should have that in front of you. Just make sure everything is there and we'll show you how to build this part of the rear quarter together. So the first thing you need to do is with 2 AP screws, you need to insert 80G into the side there, that black trim here, 80G, and make sure that you secure that into place. Once you've done that, you will need to move on and use another 2 AP screws to put into place 80H. So 80H is the other side of that rear quarter towards the back, and that's where the arch is, just there, and then there's 2 AP screws holding it together. Once you've done that, you'll need to move on to the red lens, which is 80J. That is held in again. Oh, no, actually, this is held in by 2 IP screws. So these are IP screws that you need to put into here, and that holds in that nice red trim there. So that's kind of like a reflector, maybe some sort of indicator on the back there. So yeah, I would say a reflector. Right, so the next thing you need to put on is 80I, and that's a tiny little trim, and this held in by another IP screw. So that's just that little end piece there. I kind of missed that off when I did the other side, so it's good that we actually managed to remember, well, I managed to remember to do it in this issue because it's quite an important piece. Right, so once you're done that, guys, you're going to have to move on to putting the brackets. So the first bracket you want to put on is RR5 at the bottom there. That is held on, again, by 1 AP screw, and then there's a locating lug. So you can't really get it wrong because there's a lug there to locate it where it's got to go. And I'm going to move on to putting the rest of the brackets on. So what we're going to do is we're going to flip through and put quite a few of the brackets on, and then I'll tell you which ones we've done and where they go. So at the top here, just on this side, that is RR2, and that's held in by an AP screw as well. RR3, and then the bottom one there, which I'm pointing to there, is RR4. So once you've got those on and into place, if you want to know where they are labelled, you just need to check that out by looking on them, because just underneath the plastic, they show you on there where they are marked. So on the actual thing itself, it's marked to put it into that position. So make sure you put the right one in the right place, guys, because, I mean, it probably matters, okay, even when we're going to be doing the neon cable. Right, so when attaching this piece, which is marked R1, onto 80A, you want to make sure you use a long LP screw to hold that into place, because it's really important that you use that long one, because it has to go through quite a couple of bits of plastic there to be able to hold that into position. Make sure it's nice and sturdy when you're doing that, just for the simple fact that, you kind of don't want it to move backwards and forwards, and it's going to have to hold that neon cable, and you want it to be quite sturdy. So once you've attached that whole piece with 2 AP screws behind there, you want to just make sure it's in position, make sure it sits flush, because, once this is put on, you're not going to be able to get to those screws again. So you just want to make sure that everything is into position and fits nicely. So just make sure that is done like that. So the next thing we need to do is obviously offer it up to the car, make sure you've got good gaps. And what I tend to do is use a little bit of masking tape, something that's not too coarse or too hard, and just hold things together while you're sort of screwing it into place, just because it helps it from falling off, and then you won't cross-thread the screws. So we will try and show you where those DM screws go. So you will need to use 4 DM screws to hold the rear quarter onto the back into position. So there's one there, there's one at the bottom there, and then there's also 2 at the back. I tried to show you, as well as I could, but they are on there. Just try and use your guide as much as you can, but it's quite black, so black on black doesn't help when we're trying to display stuff too. So we're just kind of giving you an all-round view here, just showing you that the gaps are lovely, it fits really nice, you know, it's level with the top, it's level with the sides. Then what you want to do is, you're kind of like, if you haven't mastered up, you don't have to do this. I just do it because I just feel that, you know, it stops things moving. Once you got into position, put a bit of tape in place, then you are set to do your screws up. So when you have done this, just test your door, make sure your door opens, doesn't snag on anything or catch, because obviously before we attach this to the car, we want to make sure everything fits right. If you do have trouble with leveling the doors or putting gaps in the doors, then you want to follow my guide. I do have a video for that, so I will put a link to that at the top here for you to click onto if you want to know how to move it around to do the gaps, because my door didn't fit and I've done it so that it does fit. I mean, obviously only do it if you've got confidence, because it is a risky thing to do, because the hinges could possibly break. It hasn't done on mine, but I don't want you to do something that if you don't feel confident. Right, so we're going to go and look at the book. So a Monument Valley Charge. It's got a little bit about you know, just the sets and things like that. And then we're just going to move on to Harry Carey Jr. And then we've also got the next issue, guys. The next issue is coming, and I'm really excited to do it. It's going to be the engine surround. It's really starting to take place now, you know, starting to come together. So thanks for watching. You've been watching Flammable 4. I'll see you guys on the next one. Please subscribe and see you real soon. Bye-bye.